Hello everyone and welcome back again to my channel. My name is Gloria, and if this is the very first time that you are seeing me, I want to say thank you so much and thanks for tuning in to this particular video. If you're a new subscriber, I want to say thank you so much for your support because it means a lot to me. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for staying with me the whole of this years. It's been wonderful with you, and this is another year. I'm deciding to make things a little bit different this year. So let me know in the comment section if there are videos that you want me to make for you. I am willing to do so. And guys, please, as you watch this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It helps my video and it's one way you're supporting me on my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the questions that international students are being asked at the airport when they come into Canada. You might be wondering, because I've gotten a lot of questions about this. Even though I've made a video about this, I'm going to put the link in the description. I've made a video about questions that international students are being asked at the airport in Canada, and I've also made a video about what the questions that visitors are asked when they come to Canada. I've also made videos about different ways you can answer this question. So in today's video, I'm going to be a little bit brief, and I will be giving you a hint of how to answer some of these questions. Again, as a disclaimer, I am not a licensed immigration consultant. I don't work for the government of Canada, and I am not a lawyer. So if you need somebody to help with your Canada immigration things to come to Canada, just let me know. Sorry about that pause in transmission. If you need to have someone to help you with your immigration application, let me know in the comment section. I do partner with a lot of immigration consultants, and what they do is that they help you to make your application and submit your application on your behalf, so that you're not using agents from your home country, because we know that these agents, sometimes they can put you into trouble. They can make you have a ban in Canada. Some of them don't even put the right information, and most of them don't even know what's going on. And the truth is that there are licensed immigration consultants that the government of Canada has said that people outside of Canada should use. And what we see people doing back home is that they just go to any agent, because the agents, they have the idea or the mindset that without agents they cannot get a visa. I want to let you know that that is a misconception. You do not need to listen to that, because that is not the truth. Without immigration agents, you can make your application yourself and come to Canada. That being said, I'm going to talk about a CBSA officer, because that's the first person you would meet when you come into Canada. That's the person that would ask you a list of questions, or question, as the case may be, depending on what you came to Canada for. And they are called CBSA officers. Now, you might be wondering, what is CBSA? Well, CBSA is the Canada Border Services Agency. What they do is that they are the ones who allow you to enter into the country. Sometimes, depending on the way you interact with them, they can ask you to go back to your country of origin. They have the license, they have the authority granted upon them, bestowed upon them, to allow anybody entrance into Canada. They can ask you questions as they deem fit. They can also, in fact, they have the right to also check your personal property. So that is the truth about the CBSA officers. So as a newcomer coming to Canada, you get in touch with these CBSA officers, and then they ask you a bunch of questions. At this point of this video, I want to beg you, if you don't have your pen and paper or notebook handy, I'll give you 1 minute to go grab that. You grabbed that already? Fine. Now let's go ahead with the questions that the immigration officers, the CBSA officers, will ask you at the point of entry. Now, the first question, if you see me looking down, is because I have a list of questions on here, which I'm going to be reading from here. The first question they're going to ask you is, which school will you study in Canada? The reason why they ask you this question is you want to make sure that you know where you're going to. So in order to answer this, I've written here that make sure you know the answer to this question. You know right at the top of your head that this is where I'm going to. and it matches your letter of acceptance, because when you are offered admission or acceptance into a college or university here in Canada, they would give you an acceptance letter. So make sure that the school name tallies with what is on your acceptance letter or letter of acceptance. The next question I have here is, what program have you enrolled in Canada? And the best way to answer this is to make sure that the name matches the program stated on your letter of acceptance. Don't give details or a long story on this particular question. The officer just wants to know what the program is. So if the program is accounting, if the program is bookkeeping, if the program is HR, the way you answer this question is, I am studying HR. Finish. Okay? The next question I have here is, what is the duration of your program in Canada? And one way to answer this is to make sure the duration matches the time period on your letter of acceptance. And this is where some international students make the mistake, because sometimes they fail to read their letter of acceptance from the beginning to the end, where it states your duration. So it might be from January 6th to August whatever, or September 8th to December or April 2020. So you have to make sure that that date matches what is on your letter of acceptance. Do not make a mistake, because it will look as if you have, doctored it or use somebody else's letter of acceptance, or you have forged the document. So make sure you have this at the top of your tips. So they have said here that a follow-up question to this would be, if it's a 2-year program, what are you going to do to pay for your second year? And that's one thing that they usually ask international students, because they want to make sure that you have enough money for your tuition and for your living expenses. And just by saying that, I want to let you guys know that the living expenses for international students increased as of January 1st, 2024, from $10,000 to $20,635. What that means is that if you are an international student, your living expense that you have to show as proof is going to be $20,635 for one student. Now, if you're coming with other people, like your family member, maybe it's a spouse, there is an amount that you have to pay for each additional person. I will drop the links for all of this in the description so that you guys can go check it out from the Government of Canada website. Again, that website is here, www.cic.gc.ca. You get tons of information on how to make your application yourself, how to come to Canada as a visitor, as a worker, as a student, and also under the express entry as a permanent resident. So there's tons of information there, something that your immigration or your agent would not give to you. Now let's go ahead with our question. The next one is, where would you be staying? And the best way to answer, and the reason why the officer is asking this, because they want to make sure that you're not going to sleep on the road, They want to make sure that you have a place where you're going to lay your head and going to stay. So the best way to answer this is, if you've booked a hotel or an Airbnb or somewhere else, make sure you provide that document to them, because when you booked your hotel, they would have sent you a confirmation and a receipt. So make sure you have that handy in your backpack so that you can show that to the officer. And if you're going to stay with a family or a relative, make sure that you have the person's information, like their name, where they are working, if possible, where they are staying. You need to have the full address, their phone number of your relative or family member, so that once they ask you this question, you are giving them the answer right immediately. Another one is what address. So it's almost the same thing as where you'll be staying. You have to give them that information. What are you going to do after you finish your program in Canada? Sometimes some international students have the habit of saying, after my program, I'm going to start working. No, that's not the right way to answer, because when you are filling your statement of purpose, you told them that after your studies, you're going to go back home to your country of origin. So the best way you can answer this question is by saying one of the following. I will return to my home country to help run my family business. That's one way you can answer it. Another way to answer this is by saying, I may look at pursuing my graduate level studies later in a different country. Okay? Another way to answer this question is to say, I don't have an exact plan for my career, but when I return to my home country and decide with my family, I will now make a decision after that. Ensure you are making them understand that yes, the goal is to go back to your home country. The last one I've written here is, I will maintain my status as an international student here and apply for a postgraduate work permit to gain Canadian work experience before I return to my home country, as this will help me a lot with my career back home when applying to larger companies. So that is one of the different ways you can answer this question. And if I was too fast, guys, there will be a transcript, and also you can rewind this video and watch it again, so you can write down the list of things or ways you can answer the question. The other question is, why did you choose Canada to study? When you were filling your application to come to Canada, on your statement of purpose or your letter of explanation, you made mention that Canada was the best country in the whole world. Canada was this. So everything you have written in that statement of purpose is what you have to answer to the CBSA officers. And one way to answer this question, why did you choose Canada to study, are the following. I had friends, relatives, family members who studied here as international students, and it was a great experience for them. And as such, I decided to apply to Canada. Another way you can answer this is, I have family, relatives, and friends here, and I feel safer studying outside my home country if I know somebody is here with me. Another way you can answer is, my family is supporting me to study abroad to gain international experience, and the cost of studying compared to the US or the UK or Australia even is lower here in Canada than those countries. Now, the officer will understand that, yes, this guy is not just here to play. He has a goal, he has the purpose. And that is what you should be giving the officers when they ask you. So, when they ask you if, why did you choose Canada to study? Another question that they might ask, if you are in your late 30s or 40, they might ask you what you do in your home country. So if you are fully employed, they want to know if you are returning back to your employment after the studies. So you need to answer it this way. This is an example of how you can answer. You must reconfirm that you're going to return to your employer back home in your country of origin, or another job that you have got. Maybe you've gotten a new job during your studies here or something like that, and that you are studying to just upgrade your career with the existing employer or a new one after you graduate. Have proof of your employment letter in case they should want to see that, because you put that into your documents when you're making your application. Another thing you need to know is what do you intend to do after your program in Canada. You have to let them know that you'll be going back home to your country to build your country up, or to start a new business with the skills you've gained from Canada, and different ways you can answer this particular question. One last question I have here is, who will be paying for your expenses in Canada? Now, for those who are in their early 20s and early 30s, you might have families back home that are sponsoring you. For example, your parents, your father or your mother, or your father and mother, or your uncle, your aunts, your relatives, and things like that. Make sure you have something that joins you together or connects you together, because the officer would not just want to see that somebody is sponsoring you. Fine, somebody is sponsoring you, but they want to see an evidence that you both relate. So, for example, if my uncle is sponsoring me, I have to have the same name with him, or maybe my maiden name should have that name, showing that yes, we are related because we have something in common. So if for you who are planning to come, if your parents are going to sponsor you, and you are still bearing the same name, if you're a lady and you're married and you're bearing your parents' name, make sure you add your birth certificate to prove that yes, these are your parents and they're paying your tuition fee here in Canada and supporting you with other bills as the case may be. Now, one thing that I want to mention here, on my notes here, I have it here, how to interact with the CBSA officers when you get to Canada. So this is a very important thing that I want you all to write down, because it is very important you know this before you come to Canada. If you don't speak English or French, so if English is not your first language, French is not your first language, please ask the officer to get you a translator for the language you speak. And there's a reason why they do that. Is because you cannot give an excuse that you don't understand what they are saying. I wrote here that through your interview, you cannot backtrack and say you don't understand what they are saying. And that's why you gave them a wrong answer, because it is not an excuse. It's not an excuse for giving a wrong answer. So please find a translator or tell them you need a translator. Another thing is that only answer the questions that they ask you. You see, do not provide any additional information or tell stories. It's either yes, no, or answer specific to the question. You have to go straight, nothing more, nothing less. If they ask you what, they want an answer what, where, why, how. You know, just give them the answer they're asking you. There is no need for you to tell super story. They don't need your stories. They just need an answer. So if it's a yes or a no, answer yes or no. If it is how, give them how and keep quiet. Don't go further than that, okay? So that you don't miss, how was am I going to say? You don't put yourself into trouble by answering something that you've not been asked. Because some people are too scared. When they see an immigration officer, you know, they get so nervous and anxious and they start talking like nobody asks you. Just answer the questions that you have been asked. So information you should give should match the details on your documents and application. And that's something that I've mentioned with the questions that we talked about. If you're answering a question, make sure that it tallies with what you have in your application. Don't argue with the CBSA officers. Do not do it. It will not get you anywhere but back home. Do not do that, because as long as you are at that airport, you have not yet entered Canada. You only enter Canada when the officers have said to you, you are welcome to Canada, and they ask you to go. That is when you are free. Otherwise, you are still in your country of origin, even though you are at the airport. Then finally, help them out fully and don't hesitate whenever they ask you a question. Do not feel jittery or anything. Just be yourself. Just assume that you're talking to your friend. That will help you. Tell yourself, oh, you're just talking to a fellow human being. You're not talking to a monster. You're talking to a human being. And there's an officer that is going to grant you entry into Canada. Now, for documents that international students will need or require at the airport, I have a list here. Your IRCC study permit, approval letter, your letter of acceptance from the school, a proof of deposit that you have made to the school, your IELTS exam, if it is a requirement from this program that you need to have your IELTS English exam results, you need to have that with you. You also need to have proof of financial. So there are some certain countries, like I know India, they always have like guaranteed investment certificates, GICs, where they have their money deposited into from their country. So if you have that, please show them a proof of that. Your study plan, that's your statement of purpose, you need to have that. Your hotel, your Airbnb that you are booked, or your family and relatives information address. Proof of ties to your home country, you need to have that, especially with people who are mature. Somebody in their late 30s or 40s, you need to have that proof of ties back to your home country. And lastly, I put here your undergraduate or degree or diploma with your transcript might help you when you get into the airport and you're speaking with a CBSA officer. One thing you should not come along with is like your CV or resume, as we call it here in Canada, because that's telling the officer something different, that you're coming here to work and not to study. I know this video is a little bit long, and there's a reason why I made it detailed, because there are lots of questions from TikTok, from Instagram. Gloria, please tell us how we can go about answering this, what documents we would need. And I decided that today I was going to make a detailed video to help you guys, so that once you get to the airport as international students, you will be able to answer these questions seamlessly without any issues. And if you do have a question after watching this video, please let me know in the comment section. And if you watched this video up until now and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, or liked or given this video a like, a thumbs up, why? What have I done to you? So one way you're going to support me this year 2024, guys, is by liking my videos. When I post a video, like my videos, share my videos. It helps YouTube to the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, to push my videos to many people that need to hear about this. Subscribe to my channel, because by subscribing, you're motivating me to make more videos, and that is my passion. That is what I love doing. I want to make sure in 2024 that I'm dishing out videos as normal that I used to make them. I love to make my videos on Sundays, because I feel it's a better time for me to have edited my video, made my video, edit my video, and make sure that it is ready to launch on Sunday, because so Sunday is a very good time for me. I hope you will stick to always looking forward to watching my videos on Sundays. And guys, please don't forget to watch the videos that will pop up on your screen. These are related videos and something that would be of interest to you. And like I said, it's going to be one of the videos I talked about questions that are being asked at the airport for even visitors as well. I'll post those videos so you can watch them, and always check my description box, because there's tons of information on my description box that would be of interest to you, and how you can get in touch with me on my other social media platforms. So until I see you in my very next video, which of course will be very soon, in a week's time, please stay safe and continue to share my videos. Bye.